Again, it's 9 o'clock and Shahan is here with the day's top stories. What's been happening?
Thanks, Jane. Appreciate that. This is one of the top stories, and you spoke to him. The ANC is scrambling to put out fires after news that a Tuli House employee was allegedly involved in a cash-in-transit heist. Errol Present has since been fired. ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe, of course, speaking to Jane a short while ago.
The ANC has got nothing to do with the conduct of its own employees when they are not working at the ANC. I mean, if on weekends, I mean, I would assume that ENCA has got very little to do with what you do on weekends. But here is an important issue.
Well, I think it's a reflection of the company.
No, but no, it can't be. It can't be. I mean, if a youngster does things during a school trip, are you going to say that that is a reflection on the school where it comes? No, people do things, and what is important is the fact that we have acted. For instance, I don't think that any other financial institutions in this country, including ENCA, they will not keep you in your job if you were charged and accused of a heist. They can't do that.
Not, no.
No, but we are expecting the ANC, when people are accused of such heinous, serious crimes, not to act. The ANC can't. It must be seen to be taking action when such accusations are leveled against individuals.
Former President Jacob Zuma says returning land is key to fulfilling Nelson Mandela's vision. He was addressing the official centenary celebration held at Madiba's birthplace of Mbezo in the Eastern Cape. He says the fight against economic inequality continues.
The difficult struggle toward economic emancipation is yet to be won. Fundamental in this struggle is the return of the land to those from whom it was dispossessed. Land expropriation without compensation is one of the key programs that will take forward Madiba's vision of a completely free South Africa.
And KwaZulu-Natal residents had their say today on the land expropriation debate. Hundreds attended the first hearing in Vryheid, and some protested outside saying they were locked out of proceedings. The province has been at the center of a debate around the role of the Ingonyama Trust Board, which administers tribal land. Speakers were for and against the dissolution of that trust. All right, back to Jane now.
Thanks very much for that. Shahan, now we're going to talk a little bit more about that top story, an ANC staff member arrested in connection with a cash-in-transit heist. Now, those robberies have increased dramatically this year. And earlier I spoke to the chairman of the Police Oversight Committee, Francois Beukman, and asked him what the reasons are behind this.
Well, I think one of the reasons was there was a migration from other cash-related crimes like automatic teller machines going to the cash-in-transit environment. I think the measures that's been put in place this last few weeks by the South African police and the organised business have ensured that there's been a considerable come down in the numbers of incidents in the country. But of course, it's an ongoing situation that should be monitored, and we believe that the necessary steps should be done by the DPCI, the Hawks, to ensure that there's the necessary task teams with the relevant specialized units to ensure that they arrest the perpetrators, but especially the kingpins with relation to the cash-in-transit environment.
Francois, let me just talk about the way they operate. I believe that the teams are very sophisticated. They've got drivers, they've got shooters. What more can you tell us about how they operate and why they've been so successful of late?
Well, once again, any organized syndicate that is in that specific environment, they are usually recruiting their members from ex-police, current police, and also people in the security industry. So that is people that's au fait with the procedures as well as the techniques that's being used. But that's why it's so important that the South African Police Service and the law enforcement agencies should be one step ahead. And that's why it's important that there should be close cooperation between the South African police and the security companies who are specialized in the cash-in-transit industry. What is also quite important is that technology should be used to the utmost to ensure that there is the necessary knowledge with relation to the vehicles as well as the transport of cash by the companies.
What sort of failing is there in the police services that this sort of incident is happening? The fact that they leave the police to go into cash and transit heists, is it because of the cash? Is it because working conditions under the police are not great?
Unfortunately, there will always be a percentage of corrupt people in any law enforcement environment. It's not restricted to South Africa. It's also in other law enforcement environments the same, but there must be the necessary preventive steps. That means with recruitment, that the right caliber of person is recruited for the police service, and that there's also the necessary integrity tests, and right through the career of that police official, there must be the necessary tests to ensure that the police officers who serve are above board. And if there's any corrupt police officials, of course, they must be arrested and brought before the courts. That's the only way you can deal with it effectively.
Can you give us an estimate of how much cash has been stolen in the past and what sort of danger these gangs present to South Africans and other people on the streets and in their vicinity?
Well, once again, I think SABRIC made a statement a few weeks ago about the amounts involved. It is substantial, and therefore it's important that there should be close cooperation between the banking industry and, of course, the police service to ensure that they deal with it effectively.
All right. Well, thank you very much. More news coming up. Do stay with us.